Hey friends, happy Friday night. I have got the windows in my sewing room open. I can hear the nightlife chirping. I don't think you'll be able to hear it in the background. Do you hear it? Yeah, it sounds amazing. If you can't hear it, I'm sorry, but it is super, super soothing. So I've decided since it's not hot and humid out anymore, it's starting to get it to be into fall, I'm going to sew with the windows open tonight. I'm really excited about that. I see lots of people are here in the chat tonight. Lenore Scott is here from Michigan. Hello. Jacqueline Molnar is here. Pat Strawhouse is here from Cumberland County, Nova Scotia. And I've heard a little birdie say that they're actually, Pat's actually going to be sewing with us tonight. Hey Day, she's here as well. She's tuning in from Michigan. Linda says, let's see what magic Becca has for us tonight. Well, I'm going to tell you there is a pattern for you. It is a free pattern for those of you that don't like it when I give you a pattern to pay for. There is a free pattern for you. It is on my website. It is super, super easy. And I want to talk to you about that project in just a moment. Donna is here from Handmade by Ying. Hey, Donna. You guys don't forget that she's live every Friday night before I am. So exclamation Ying, I think, in the chat will get you a link to her channel. And as always, if any of you are content creators, exclamation selfie in the chat will drop your link so people can check you out. My mom is here. Hello, hello, hello. You say jelly roll and we all jumped over. Yes, jelly roll. You can do this with 1, 2, or 3 jelly rolls. It's all on the project sheet and it's really easy to do. So I'm hoping I'll be able to do this tonight. The blocks I'm going to be making are on the display board over my shoulder here. And I'm going to show you the way I'm making them, which is going to make them come together a bit easier. Shelly says, I've been looking forward to this all week. Awesome. Happy Bergmayer? We'll just call you Happy. Hi, Happy. She said, happy Friday. Thanks for the pattern. Pat says, hi, everyone. It is wonderful to breathe in the fresh air. Pat says, my fabric is starched, cut, and ready to go. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I want to start off this live stream by giving credit where credit is due. I have been gobbling up all of the EPP videos over at the Last Homely House. Did I say that the right way? Kate. I've been watching a lot of her EPP videos and I've been listening to them while I'm sitting on the train doing my hand stitching. It's just really nice to keep me company. And there's something about the way she talks. Her voice is really soothing and she's got that really pretty accent from London and she's always cheerful. It's just a great mood. Like, you can't watch her and not be happy when you're done. So I was stitching through some, and the next video that came up was the one that she uploaded about 2 weeks ago. She was making these 16 patch blocks with her daughter-in-law, and her daughter-in-law pulled out her own fabrics and they decided to put it together into a quilt for her daughter-in-law. And I started thinking, that's a really easy thing to do. I wonder, maybe I'll do something like that. And then she got to the part of her video where she said, now some of you are going to ask me for a pattern and that's not what I am about. That's not me. I'm not that quilter, so I don't have one for you. And I thought, it's easy enough to figure out how to do. She's already done it. And so why don't I just type up a 1-page sheet, no illustrations, just the steps and the fabric that you'll need. And why don't I challenge myself to do this with a jelly roll? So that's what we are doing tonight. We are going to take a jelly roll, just one, and we're going to put it together to make a throw size quilt. But here's the deal. If you take 2 jelly rolls, you'll get a nice twin size quilt. And if you take 3 jelly rolls, you'll get about a queen size quilt. And the method to put them together is the same for all of them. It just depends on how many blocks you're going to end up with. And it's all in the project sheet, which I'm going to drop in the chat again. Excuse me. So you should see that. It is also pinned at the top of the live chat, and it is in the description box down below for those of you that are catching this on the replay. So I've already gotten started on this. As you can see, I've got 3 blocks up behind me. We'll jump to that in a moment, but I want to read some of the chat off. Holly says, I love Kate too. I could watch and listen to her talk. Irene says, I agree. She is so smoothing to listen to. Kathy says, I'm working on my hexies. I need to mail you one. Awesome. Darlene says, I love Kate. I get tips on EPP from her. Anna says, I adore Kate. I've been hooked on her videos. I was just thinking your backdrop looked familiar. Yeah, it was a very, very recent video. Victoria says, what model is your Singer? I just bought a Singer that was made in 1954, and I'm so excited to use this machine. It needs a good cleaning and maybe some rewiring. This is a 1951 Singer 301. Joan Reed is here. She says, hi, Becca. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope everyone had a good Friday. We did. Hello, Crystal. Okay. I could sit here and just, oh, wait, one more question. I was going to say I could just sit here and read chat, but that's not what you came for. Pamela does have a question. She said, Becca, so sorry to ask this off topic, but should the hexi papers be 1.5 inches so that the hexi is 1 inch? No, you want the sides of each of the hexagons to measure 1 inch. So if you're making the papers yourself, just draw a hexagon so that each segment of that line is 1 inch. That's what we're looking for. Layla is here and she is excited to catch the live. Linda says a 16 patch throw is what my grand entered in the county fair for 4-H. She almost got $400 for her make. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So the fabric that I am using tonight is a jelly roll, and I don't think I kept the little label. I think it was Blizzard from Sweetwater. It is a Christmas line. And I don't have a Christmas quilt, so I'm killing two birds with one stone. Here's what I did. I took all of the strips in my jelly roll and I separated them into two piles, my lights and my darks. Well, as you would have it, there's a segment in there that I'm supposed to say, I don't remember what the words are, but as it turns out, there are 4 prominent colors in this jelly roll. There's red, obviously, green, white, and gray. So I decided my reds and grays are going to be my dark pile, and my grays and my whites are going to be my light pile. And what I have up here are blocks that are made with either red or green and gray as that light color. It's a little bit darker than the white, but I'm hoping if I scatter the grays out in the quilt top, it won't be so noticeable. And the truth is, if after all my blocks are done and I lay it out and I don't like the way these look in the quilt top, I can always substitute in some other blocks that have the same color values, or I can just make the quilt a little bit smaller without those in it. But I'm intending to make all 40 blocks that I need for this quilt top. So I'm going to start by making some strip sets. I've already made a few here, so I'm going to set those aside, but I'm going to take you to the overhead and just kind of walk you through what I did here. I told you that I separated all of my fabric into light and dark piles, and after I did that, then I grabbed one light and one dark, and I put them all right sides together into a pile so that I can just chain sew them. Now here's the thing. I could have just pulled the strip set off of my jelly roll and kept it selvage to selvage, but I find when I do that and I'm making strip sets, it can get a little wonky, especially towards the middle. And I didn't want to deal with that tonight. Plus, I'm sitting and doing all of my things right here. And so if I can make my pieces a bit smaller, it'll make it easier for me. So I'm going to have smaller pieces than what you're going to have if you're going to do this with a full jelly roll strip. But it's still doable. It should take about the same amount of time. It also gave me more variety. I cut every one of my strips in half. So this piece I got 2 of. Actually, spoiler alert, I got 4 because this strip was in there twice. So I got to switch it up a little bit more. That's going to give me some more variety. That's the word. That's the word. So we are going to start sewing. I've got these already sewed. Now I did not starch my fabric before I started sewing. I'm sorry, before I cut them. But I am going to have to press to the dark side after I've sewn all these strip sets together. So I'm going to introduce starch at that point, and it's still going to be okay because it's before I subcut. So I'm just going to see how many of these I can get through really quick, and then we'll get to the subcutting part. That's what Kate did too. She cut her strips in half. Yes, I noticed that. And also, if you decide to do this from fat quarters, you totally can, because a fat quarter is half the width. So you don't have to use a jelly roll. You could grab a fat quarter bundle that you have off of your shelf. I don't know how many fat quarters you'll need. I can tell you how many strips you need, which is in the pattern. Just keep in mind, if you're going to use a fat quarter, then your strips are going to be multiplied by 2, because you're not going to have the width of fabric. You're only going to have half of that width. So let's see if the machine camera, it looks like it's playing nicely right now. It was not cooperating with me a little while ago, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get that third camera going. Michelle the Quilter says, hi Zaza and friends. Olivia E says, hello everyone. Becca, you inspired me to do EPP and now love doing that as we watch TV nightly. That has been my thing too. And I did get, oh my goodness, you guys. I love all of you. You're sending the hexies in, and so many of you are not just sending enough for one hexagon flower. It's addictive. I think you're getting addicted to basting them together and sending them in. So I'm getting piles of them. So what I'm trying to do right now is, at least I'm picking my favorites out of each package, and I'm making a hexagon flower out of that. And then the rest I'm putting into a hexagon organizer. It's linked on my Amazon shop, where I can just pull from whenever I want to. I am making sure to write people's name on the back of those extra ones, so that if I do pull and use them for a random one, I'll know who donated that hexie to that piece. Hey John, hello. John from Art East Quilting is here. Ian says, I'm here. I'm getting my entries ready for the state fair. Yep, Ian and I have a few quilts or a few items, because one of his is not a quilt. We have a few items that are going to be at the Virginia State Fair, and tomorrow is drop-off day for us. Dead Phil says, I got my hexies in the mail today. You should have them by Tuesday. Awesome. Linda says, I have about 50 for you and some pre-cuts and yardage in Tula. Hey, listen, I'll whatever you want to send. I will make good use of, oh, I ran out of bobbin, I must have. I will take whatever it is you want to send. Not all of it might make into this quilt, but I can always use some hexies. The bobbin, where'd the bobbin go? I pulled out the bobbin case. There's no bobbin. Oh, it slid out. I was like, that's weird. Wouldn't that have been funny? That would have been like ghost sewing. There's no bobbin in the bobbin case, but somehow you're managing to stitch. That's weird. Why doesn't it want to go back into its hole? Layla says, y'all have me thinking about entering the state fair next year. You should, Layla. There we go. Let's see if it'll cooperate now. Oh yeah, and speaking of Ian, he is going to be over at Sean's tomorrow morning for Brekkie with Sean. So if you are somebody that likes to sit with their coffee and just watch TV or watch YouTube or listen to a podcast, or maybe you just want a little bit of company to sew with, the two of them will be live on his channel tomorrow. On Sean's channel, sorry. Let me clear the air there. All right. John from Art East, are you up near Nova Scotia? That's where Pat's just moved to. Are you guys close to one another? Love Loathingly says, I considered entering our county fair, but I can't finish anything, so that will never happen. Our county fair got rid of the quilt show, so that didn't get to happen for me this year. Nova Scotia, awesome. John is also in Nova Scotia. Hey, Pat, you got a neighbor. Debbie said, what is Sean's page? Hey, Ian, if you don't mind, could you drop the link to Sean's YouTube channel in the chat, please? And if you don't have the link, it is The Guy Who Sews right here on YouTube. You could just look up The Guy Who Sews. I think John joined him for a brekkie recently, too. Hi, Holly. Shelly says, sorry, Ian and Sean, I'll be sleeping. No worries, Shelly. Deb says, on the hexie making, I have tried various brands of washable glue sticks, including Elmer's Disappearing Purple, and have a favorite. They all work, but the cleanest and easiest is the Sew Line. I think I bought stock in Sew Line glue. I've got tons of refills of that. Good to know about the different methods, the different glues. I've not tried them all on hexies. I've just been using up my Sew Line glue. Ian says he might be sleep sewing tomorrow at Sean's. Don't worry, Ian. I'll watch, and if you fall asleep, I'll just run over and shake you awake. Awesome. John says he is joining Stephanie and Russ tomorrow afternoon. Awesome. You are a popular fella lately, huh? Sorry, Becca. Gotta go look after the hubby. Enjoy the gathering. I'll look back later. Okay, bye, Eunice. Wow, Lorraine just got back from 5 weeks in Nova Scotia. Becca says, Deb says, Becca, when you get the flamingo next week, you will notice the differences. Got it. Use the different glue on that, huh? John says, I get around. You do okay, huh? You get around. Melissa says, I am dog sitting for my brother and future sister-in-law this weekend while they go to the Wisconsin Dells. What kind of dog do they have? Oh my goodness. Happy says, I have basted over 1,000 EPP pieces and I prefer thread basting. Glue is fast, but harder for me to sew with because I use too much glue and pull the fabric tighter than when I thread baste. So I will tell you, I have noticed a difference. Some folks are basting their hexies with thread and some are basting with glue. And I actually prefer sewing the ones that are basted with thread together more than the ones that are glued, but I don't mind doing either one. If I had a preference, I would choose the ones that are thread basted together. Here's the trick though. I have not mastered how to thread baste my hexies neatly yet. So I'll need to practice that a bit more before I convert. Fortunately, I have enough glue to last me at least another week. Probably another 3 months. Hello, Jan. Welcome to the live stream. Shelly said, I got Laura Heine's glue, but they are still in the package. Best laid plans. Melissa says she has a German Shepherd mix from the local rescue. Sadie is 10 months and 65-ish pounds of fluff. Well, she's just a baby. Donna says, I would rather sew-based, thread-based her hexies as well. Hey, Stephanie Holton. Hey there, Donna. Donna Forrest is in the chat from Texas. Hello, Donna. Olivia says, I made yo-yos in the past. I am thinking of using my EPP and yo-yos in a project. It will not be a quilt, but maybe a table runner. That sounds cool. I'm sewing a bit slower than I normally do. Mostly because I'm worried that the machine might be too loud if I go full pace. Let me do this same full on. Tell me if it's too loud for you. Hold on, that wasn't full speed. Here we go. What do you think? How does that sound? Is that okay? Full speed ahead, Becca. Hey, there's my Tiffy. She says, just popping in to say hello, Becca. It's movie time after being mad at my long arm today. Have a great live. Oh, you guys like the way Ruby sounds. All right, so full speed ahead it is. Crystal said, I was looking for a pattern today and forgot it had been sitting under my machine table. It's been a while since I've sewn. I've done that. I have done that. It's funny how machines all have their own unique sound, even if the model is the same. So a friend of mine bought a Singer 301 and had it sent out and painted, and I got to help her get acquainted with it in July when I got to see her, and her 301 sounds great, but it doesn't sound like Ruby. And I was reflecting on that today as I was sitting here preparing for the live stream and making a couple of sample blocks. And I was like, you know, the sound of these older vintage machines, they're all just a little bit unique. They all sound just a little bit different than even other ones made in the same year, the same model, whatever. And so I was like, well, maybe that's their singing voice, right? Like Ruby's singing voice is different than her sisters and her brothers, right? Josh says, oh my gosh, why is Ruby yelling at me? Kidding. Hey, Becca. Hey, everyone. Hey, Josh, I saw your recent finish. That quilt is gorgeous. Oh, yeah, there might be. Oh, there is a sound delay with Ruby. Sorry. So we're just going to go back to this camera. The camera, camera for Ruby, for some reason, is bogging out. And I think I need to do some tech troubleshooting. I honestly think it's my computer. That computer is pretty dated. I think I need a new laptop to power my live stream setup so that I don't have that lag issue. But the other two cameras seem to be just fine. So we'll just deal with these two for a while. And since I'm just sewing strip after strip after strip, we'll just do the wide angle here. You can still see the machine a little bit, just not up close. When we get to the point where we're subcutting, we'll go to the top camera. Tamara says, is Ruby a 301 or 301A? Does anyone know what the differences are? So I believe the 301A was made in Anderson, South Carolina, whereas the 301s were made in New Jersey. And I think the 301A might be a long bed, but don't quote me on that. But I do know the 301A was made in South Carolina, whereas the 301s were made in New Jersey. And I believe the years are a little different. But basically the same machine. Becca, what thread do you use on your long arm? Mary is asking. I bought Glide, but it wants to thread a lot, or maybe I just got a bad spool. Oh, are you talking about it's breaking thread a lot? I use Glide 40 weight on my long arm. And there is definitely a method to getting the tension right. I don't have the right answer for you, but if you do look up some videos on YouTube, I am sure there are long arm quilters out there that go through how to set the tension for Glide. The thing with Glide is, because it's a poly thread, it is a bit slippier. It's more slippery than your cotton thread. So you've got to make sure that it's in that tension disc. You want to hear the click when you put it into the tension disc. So sometimes if it's not flossed in there right, the thread can break. And I know it might look like it's in there, but if you don't hear it snap into the tension discs, it might not be in there enough. Wonderful. Melissa put dog pics in the Facebook group, so when we do a little bit of show and tell later, we'll get to see your puppy. Pam says, is the Amazon hexagon storage container the same container you suggested for the Ruby Star letters and tiny pictures? No, it is not. Shelly said, cram it in the tension disc like a dental hygienist flosses your teeth. Good analogy. Josh says, I see holiday prints. That's how I know summer's almost over. Yeah, and I'm working with Christmas prints, which it's not Christmas season, but it is getting into Christmas quilt season, isn't it? Also, Starbucks fall menu started. So I can get a pumpkin spice latte tomorrow while I'm driving down the road. I don't care if you think it's too early. I'm doing it anyway. Hey Donna. Donna Hinch is just joining in. Welcome to the live stream. Jonathan says we have a Bernina at the shop and we have the best luck with glide thread. It seems to hate Aurifil. One more set to sew together. Maureen says it's never too early for pumpkin spice. A friend of mine at work told me on, I think it was yesterday, that the PSL menu or the fall menu opened up. She was like, pumpkin spice cold brew. And I was like, PSL, PSL. And I did not buy one. But I think it might be on the treat menu for this weekend. Hey Leslie, she says, I just came in. Hello. All right, get my little doohickey and snap all these apart. Turn my iron on because we're going to need that. Ah! Wouldn't be a live stream if I didn't drop something. M. Smith says, hello, Becca. Have you done the Star is Born pattern? I'm trying and I'm just not getting it. No, and I don't even know that I've heard of it. Angela says, I am ready for 100-degree weather to go away. Leslie says, what did I miss? Oh, I dropped my thread snapper cutter thingy on the floor. That's what you missed. For those that are just tuning in, I am working on a 16 patch quilt. I'm using a jelly roll that has been separated into two piles, lights and darks. And I am combining, I've cut all my strips in half so that it's a little bit easier to strip piece. And then I am piecing one dark and one light together along the length. And after I press all of these to the dark side, I will begin subcutting them into 2.5-inch wedges and putting them into 16 patches like you see on the board behind me. There is a free pattern for you on my website, and I did put the link in the chat. It's in the description box down below, and it is also pinned at the top of the live chat. And I just want to give Kate over at Last Homely House a shout out for the inspiration on this, because she did do a video tutorial on the same type of quilt about 2 weeks ago. And I linked to her channel in the description box too, by the way. All right, we got to press first. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm just going to press sitting here so that I can still see the chat and interact with you guys. You know, I think I have another pressing mat so I don't have to move everything. Why, yes, I do. We'll use this one today. That way I don't have to bring that one all the way over here and clear everything off of it. And also, maybe don't drop strips on the floor. Oh, hey, I have one more to sew. I lied, I'm not done. Deb says, Becca, did another strip set fall on the floor when you grabbed the last pair? Yeah, I think it did, because I just found it. All right. Set this over here. Just dropped another one. Got a case of the dropsies. All right. Need some water. Tab says, thank goodness. I thought maybe I was seeing things. So for each one of these strips, we're going to put you in this camera. For each one of these strips, I am going to lay it down so that the dark fabric is on top. And then I'm just going to push the seam up and over. And remember, I said I was going to use this moment to starch. This just saved me starching all of my strips before I did my strip set piecing. I knew I was going to have to press to the dark side anyway, so I figured I would starch all the strips after they were in strip sets. So I'm going to do this for all of my strip sets, and this is going to give you a nice view of the fabrics that I'm working with as I iron them together. Here's another one. Oh, let me move this over a little bit because I keep bumping it. And then we're going to take this bad boy and we're going to change. There we go. That way I'm in the center here. Do you have issues with your starch, Mr. Clogging, if not used regularly? Mine always clogs. Sometimes mine clogs a little bit, and then you get that really annoying drip coming down the front. And what I find is a pin in those holes, and running just regular water through it a few times helps a lot. So when that starts to happen, I'll put the starch into a secondary container. I'll take it to the kitchen sink, fill up the bottle with water, and I'll just mist the heck out of the sink until it's flowing a little bit nicer. What panto did you use for the crab quilt? I don't remember the name of it, but it's just a bunch of swirls, and that thing has been giving me a hard time. So it's been loaded on the long arm for dang near a week, and it's not done. I just haven't had time in the evenings, but I'm hoping tomorrow afternoon I'll be able to get it finished. It's a 3-day weekend, so I don't see why I can't get that finished. Joanna says, hello all, just back from a friend's in a torrential downpour. The dog was not happy. Better than hail, about 20 miles from here, and she is in Massachusetts. Janet says, what can you say about cordless irons? I want your opinion. Thanks. I have a cordless iron. I like it. The reason why I am not using a cordless iron here is honestly, this stays on a bit longer. So I chose to have that. Plus it takes up less footprint, and real estate is kind of at a premium here. But I do like not having the cord in the way. So it's either take up a lot of room and not deal with the cord, or don't have to worry about taking up a lot of room, but deal with a cord. So I managed to work it so that the cord is not as annoying as it could be. And I opted to have more table real estate. But it is a good iron. I have the model that I use on my Amazon page. If you are interested, and the link to that is in the chat box as well if you want to check out the Amazon. And also, I've just put it